In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I made $10,000 in only a couple months trading inversion fair value gaps only. If you don't already know who I am, my name's Dodgy and I only trade FVGs. You're probably wondering, do you ever trade anything else? The answer is no. I see other things all the time. I can predict price off other things all the time, but I have narrowed myself down to one model to relieve the stress. Right? I don't need to worry about anything else, and it's locked in. I only trade one pair, which is NQU, which technically isn't a pair, in one model, and that's all I have to focus on to make money. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys some of the setups I've taken in the past couple of weeks to show you how I've made so much money. So to get started off, right, my model is fairly plain and simple. Okay, I'm looking for a 2022 model, except it has a inversion fair value gap in it. Okay, so I'm looking for something like this. Okay, but I need to see an inversion gap in it. Okay, so here would be your bullish fair value gap, but what I'm looking for is actually a little different. Okay, so I'm actually looking, instead of looking for a market structure shift here, okay, I'm looking for a inversion fair value gap before this first high gets hit, and then this is what I'm doing right here. So I'm trying to beat the market structure shift. Now, I have good logic behind this. In my opinion, if my bias is wrong and this happens and I try to get in the inversion, I get completely destroyed. Okay, so that's what I'm trying not to do. If I'm wrong and I get in here, but we're still likely to make a move up here for at least some partials to be taken, or for maybe like a short-term target to be taken, then we go down. Okay, right? That's my reasoning behind this. I don't just say this rule to say it, okay? I love when we have not hit the internal high and we get the inversion before it, because I know from backtesting, the market 80-90% of the time will go to this high and I can move myself to break even. Okay, and that has allowed me to save a lot of losses because I really don't lose a lot of money because I have this nice break even rule. Now, there is times where I don't move stop to break even here, right? I won't move stop break even here, but a lot of time I do. The times I don't, I usually have more conviction than other setups, okay? So I just won't move it. So this is the first setup I'm going to go over, and this is a setup I called out on Friday, okay? Called it on my Discord, live streamed it, whatever. And there's a couple different times you could have gotten in here, but this is the biggest one, okay? This would have made you the most money. You can see here we have a liquidity sweep, which is always a bonus in a setup, all right? And right after the liquidity sweep, what do you notice? Big displacement through a bearish gap. And in my eyes, right, when I see this, you can kind of see, oh, we're rejecting a bearish gap here. Okay, but when I saw this big candle, I'm like, okay, there's going to be a lot of new ICT traders thinking, oh, we're going to reject this gap since we're rejecting this gap. But no, I call this a long setup, right? And it worked perfectly to this high and then this high. So you would have entered when we close above, right? You would have market ordered in. That's what I do. Stop loss is a close back below, and you would have targeted here, and you would have taken some partials here. Okay, this is the first setup. It was a great setup, and this was the news high from 8:30 candle, and that's a news candle. And if you guys don't know, this is a great liquidity pool. I target these all the time. It's my one setup for life, which you can watch those videos as well if you want. So all in all, this is an A+ setup. It was awesome. It moved right away. You could have seen that it just moved right away. Now, because we took buy side liquidity here, by the time we came back down to here, this fair value gap did not work. Okay, because I already marketed ordered in here. And notice how this setup, see how this setup forms? See how this candle right here, it doesn't actually take out any of this liquidity at the same time as the close? Right, that's the trick. That's the secret. Okay, you don't want, like, once it takes out this and then goes back down, I am not interested anymore. Right, I enter before it takes out the liquidity, as long as we have the inverse. Okay, and it just works absolutely beautiful. Okay, I think NQ actually hit it to almost a tick. Didn't quite hit it, but MNQ hit it, which is what I trade. So, but depending on, let's say you risk like $200 here, you could have easily made 400, 500 here, and that is literally one setup in one day. Okay, 500 in a day is very doable. Okay, if you do 500 times 2 days, you can make 1,000. That means in about 20 days, okay, 20 days, right, you can make 20 times 500. Okay. I'm not going to say what that is. Do the math. In 10 days, you can make 10 times 500. Okay. There's a lot of opportunity. One setup a day is all you need. There's almost a setup occurring every single day on every single time frame, whether it's a 1-to-1, whether it's a 2-to-1, whether it's a 3-to-1. There's always going to be a setup. I've never missed a setup any day. If you don't see a setup in the 1 minute, there probably was one in the 30-second or the 15-second. Okay, I'm telling you, there's always going to be a setup. So I'm going to go over 2 more trades after this on some of the trades that I've taken. As you all know, I only use inverse fair value gaps. And recently, I made a full free PDF of inverse fair value gap rating setups that I use to rate my own setups A through C. So if you want to check that out, just click the first link in the description. It's completely free and hopefully should help you. Here is another setup I took. So in this situation, we kind of had the same thing. We had a news candle. It formed a bullish fair value gap, and we had a data low below. Okay, it was very obvious wick. So it's a great liquidity pool. And what I did is when we close back below this bearish fair value gap, or this bullish fair value gap, what I do is I short there. Stop loss goes estimated around here. I guess you could put it at the high if you want. And then you target down here. Okay, great setup. It worked perfectly. Little stally down here. Not sure why, but you know, the main thing with this setup is we took this buy side, right? And I don't need to see this displacement a lot of time, right? When I see this, I'm like, okay, I don't know if we're going to displace above this or not. Like, I genuinely couldn't tell you if we're going to keep going up here or not. Here's where I'm like, okay, well, I think we're going to go down to the data low because of the reaction. You know, here's that first candle where it tells me, okay, we broke order flow. Now I'm likely to take a short, and I think we're going to go down here, right? I don't know a couple candles before, though. Okay, and you can see there's a little mini delivery from this bearish fair value gap right here. It's actually a BPR, balanced price range, but that's a bonus. So this would have been an A+ setup. It was awesome. Worked right away. And again, if you risked about $250 on this, probably would have made like 300, 350, 400, depending on when you scale. I would not have taken partials on this one because there's no spot to take partials. So it probably would have been almost a $450 trade for me. This is the third setup and final setup I will be going over in this video. Okay, this was perfect. We had a very obvious bearish fair value gap. You can see we came down, swept this, and again, I don't know what we're gonna do here, right? I don't know if we're gonna displace this or not. But in hindsight, when I see a reaction like this, and when I see this bullish fair value gap to left hold, right, I'm thinking, okay, this is probably going to be good inverse. If it gets closed above, I will try to market buy a long and target the next highs. So you can see what ended up happening is we closed above it right here, and we end up going all the way to the next high. And again, this is another setup. I probably would have taken partials here, so it wouldn't have been a true 2R, but I probably would have given this like a 1.5R, depending on how you traded it. So another $250 trade probably would have made 300, 350 here. Okay, but you can see I'm looking for the same recognition every time. I'm looking for a nice, singular, obvious gap, right? If I can back away from my screen and see a very obvious gap like this one, it's just super obvious to me. I will wait for a high momentum candle above it, such as here, and I will be taking that long. Okay, so beautiful setup. Liquidity sweep also delivered from here. Also very low in the range because we got like a 1,000-point dump overnight, right? So we're generally low in the range, which is a good sign to go back up and take more liquidity from up here. And yeah, it's a great setup. There's a lot of ways to make money on these. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Keep using that model. My FVGs are probably some of the best model I've seen on the internet, especially with the break-even thing. Now, this is an interesting one. This is one where if you took some profit here, which is not that much RR, you probably would have gone south of break-even. But I also tell people, look up here. There's equal highs. So like this might be a trade where I wouldn't go to break even because I think there's equal highs in NQ and MNQ. You can't actually see them, but this is one of those trades where I probably would not have gone to break even, and I probably would have held if there weren't if there were equal highs up here. But in other situations, if I think price action is really bad or we're just chopping, I will go to break even here. But you know, my break even saves me a lot. Now that I have a lot of screen time, I kind of know when to go to break even and when not to. So it definitely helps me. And yeah, the break-even method is just undefeated if you're new. And who cares if you take 3 break-even trades in a row? At least you're not losing money. And the statistics say that you'll probably lose the trade anyways 60-70% of the time if you don't get stopped to break-even. I've been doing a back test on that. So that is going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and go make that money. Use code Dodgy if you want to practice my FVG strategy. There is a sale right now, so just type in Dodgy for the discount code. And that is going to be it for this video. Peace.